Hello and welcome to Community Conversations. I'm your host, KK Konashiro. A new school year has arrived and every year brings new faces to Fremont Unified's roster of outstanding principals. Fremont Unified has 4 new principals this fall, 3 of which are starting their first year as a principal, and all 3 are with us today. Joining us to talk about their new roles and their with the district is American High School's Megan Barrington, Brookville Elementary's Melinda Elliott, and Mission San Jose High School, Jeff Evans. Thank you so much. So, why don't you introduce yourself again, just to make sure, so everyone viewing knows which principal is which.
Okay. I'm Megan Barrington from American.
Okay.
Jeff Evans, Mission San Jose High School.
Melinda Elliott, Brookville.
Okay. And this is your first year as a full-fledged principal, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So not only, these are the people we need to be afraid of. Okay. So can you tell me, what's it been like with this first new year? You want to start, or?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
I can say it has been busier than I ever expected, but also full of new fun challenges. So
Okay.
I get to do things that I didn't have in my role as assistant principal, and it's fun and different every day, which is why I love doing it.
Okay. Jeff?
Yeah, similar. It's been a challenge, but an interesting process. I'm coming from the same school. I was an assistant principal, so I'm familiar
Okay.
with all the processes. The staff and the students and community have been really supportive, so I'm happy
Oh,
about
good.
that. And it's just been a really neat process so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have to concur. It's been a lot busier than what I had thought it was going to be, even though I knew I would be busy. I changed schools after being at one for many years, so I had to learn a whole new teaching
Right.
staff, families, students, and so that's been really fun and challenging to get to know everybody and learn names and faces and so forth. So
Now, were you also an assistant principal?
I was assistant
Okay.
principal.
So
yes.
being an assistant principal, now you're principal, I know you guys are the busiest as ever, but when you're assistant principal, didn't you see your principal as busy, or is something changed, or is it because you're changing things up, or why are you busy?
It's interesting being the one go-to person
Yeah.
on campus, and I think my previous principals have always done an amazing job of making it look easy.
Yes.
And for everyone viewing, it's not. But but also, it's a different type of responsibility every day, and so as an assistant principal, you are dealing with students almost constantly.
Right.
And my role as principal is much more managerial.
Yes. Was that surprising to you?
It was.
Okay.
But I am now making sure in my schedule I'm taking time every day to find
Right.
time to be in classrooms or time to be with students, because that's my favorite part of the job.
Yeah, that's of course.
Yeah, as assistant principal, you always have that comfort feeling and knowing that if I don't have the answer or if something happens, there's someone else that they can go to and we can resolve it as a principal. In that position now, you realize that the buck stops here, which is neat. I've got a lot of support from the district office. I know I can call people here at the district office if I need any help. I can call Megan. I have called other principals for that support, and so it's just that new challenge of, you never know what's going to walk in, what's going to happen next, and then just working it through.
Okay. And you're at a whole new school site. So
I am, and I went from having myself and my administrator to just myself.
Oh,
So
wow.
that was kind of interesting. Instead of having someone to kind of divvy up duties,
Right.
it's now all my duties. But I have to say the district office has been so helpful, and even if I
Oh,
call
good.
the wrong person, they still either try to answer my question
Or find you the right
find me the
person.
right person. And all the other elementary principals have been reaching out, and I can call anybody and ask questions. So I don't feel abandoned or alone. It's just a lot of
New.
things that come across my desk that
And I think I would concur with that. I think I have felt incredibly supported in this role because of all the other principals and all the other administrators and the district office staff, because everyone is here to make sure every side is successful.
Yeah.
And so it's really a great community of administrators.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful. Now, going back to you, because there's a whole new school for you, what's your approach? Are you learning what was done before you change anything, or you have new programs that you want to start right now, or how do you?
Right now I'm pretty well kept everything in place that was
Okay.
there originally, and has been past practice.
Okay.
And then I'm meeting with the teachers as we go through our staff meetings in our professional learning communities, and we're talking about what works well
Okay.
and what we want to keep in going and keep in practice, and then
That's
what are
good.
some things that we might want to do a little bit differently.
Right, right.
And those are things that will come on slowly as we do some research and see what would be the best for our staff and our community, and how we might roll those out to be really effective.
That's great. Now, you two have been at your schools as assistant. So now that you're the principal, are there new projects you have on the horizon or changes you want to make?
Yeah, one of my initiatives for this year is really expanding our mental health
Nice.
possibilities that we have. We've coordinated with outside therapy like Youth and Family Services for Fremont and Hume to bring their services to our campus to support our students. We really want to help engage their families as well on services, breaking down some of those preconceived notions of stress and preparing for college and all that kind of stuff, to show that there's there's lots of supports out there, and B, this process can be fun too in terms of the
Right,
high school
right.
process.
Yeah.
And so it's about education and getting those people out there that can help us with that process. So yeah,
That's
I'm
great.
excited about that.
That's great.
I think one of the benefits of having been an assistant principal at my site is that I know a lot of the specific needs of the students right now, and
Right.
one of the biggest needs, it seems, across the district is mental health support. And so our students have really needed as much as they can possibly get. It's high stakes in terms of getting into the colleges that are giving them very challenging applications and hoops to jump through, and they're experiencing higher levels of stress than I've seen throughout my entire career.
Wow.
So we're working very similarly as Mission in terms of setting up supports for our students to get as many options on campus
Okay.
for them, and also partnering with groups off-site so that we can get
Nice.
options for families. Also working with our staff to help train them on ways to support students in the classroom and how we can adapt our practices to be as stress reducing as possible.
That's great. Now, speaking of stress reducing, because you're the new principals, is there an outlet for parents to meet the new principals at some point? Did you have some kind of reception that they could actually talk to you for a second?
I did the first day of school. I
Oh,
had
nice.
a principal meet and greet, and so I had
Okay.
a really nice turnout of parents that came
That's good.
and have been really, coming up to me before school, after school, to introduce themselves and their families. And
That's
so,
great.
yes. And last night we had back to school night, so I was able to meet a few more parents.
Oh,
last night.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And how about you guys?
Yeah, we on May's Day we had our freshman orientation, so I went out and met with the freshman parents and the students.
Good.
And then we've had our back to school night. We had a little introduction with them, and we've met with our PFA over the summer, and we're meeting with them next week and talking about some initiatives that we want to work on together.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. Before school started, we had Link Crew orientations for all of our incoming students.
Link
Crew.
What's that?
It's a transition program for students to be prepared for coming into
high
a
school?
new school, new
Okay.
environment, and high school, and all the
Love
challenges that
that.
come with that.
Okay.
So I got to meet all of the incoming students that way. And then their families, as we've been going through this process, we have back to school night next week. So I'll be meeting a lot of families there, and a lot of our PTSA meetings as well have met a lot of great families. And many of them I've already known because I've been in the attendance area for quite some time.
Yeah, that's great. Now, when you first started out your careers, I understand you guys were all teachers. What did you teach?
I have taught science 7th through 12th grade, almost all of them.
Okay. Jeff?
I taught world and U.S. history.
Okay.
I taught kinder and fifth.
Okay. So when you decided to become an admin side of the school district, was that a hard transition? I mean, did you start out thinking I'm going to be a teacher and then going to be a principal? I mean, what was your thought processes? What was your game plan? For any kid out
hard
there who
one.
wants to
That is
follow
a
your
hard one. I
footsteps.
I didn't go into education thinking that I was going to be an administrator. I definitely went into education as want to be a teacher. I knew in high school that I wanted to be a teacher because I was inspired by some teachers. It was during my time as a teacher, I became a department chair.
Okay.
And then I kind of got that broader picture as a department chair that I kind of want to look at some bigger institutional processes. And then so that's when I did my tier 1 credentialing and then got into the admin program, and then realized that I really like looking at whole school processes.
Yeah.
That being said, when I became an administrator, I really, and to this day, I still really miss the classroom.
Do you really?
Because,
Nice.
you know, they're all there and they're happy to see you. I hope they're all happy to see you. And then now, when I see them, it's for the wrong reasons, right? They don't want to see you.
I'm
and
in
you
trouble.
hope that you can work through that process and make it a good experience in the office. But I miss those days of those 30 smiling faces when I was working with them.
I
So.
bet.
Mm-hmm.
I bet. Do you miss the classroom too?
I do.
Yeah.
And I am a kinder teacher at heart, so I love interacting with the little ones, and so I try to go in and read a story to them or just
Oh,
go
nice.
interact. And the kids on the playground, if you're having a little bit of a stressful day or just need a little bit of a pick-me-up, you just go out to where the
Yes.
kids are at recess or at the lunch tables, and they're all so happy to see you, and you're like you're their favorite person, and you feel so much better after just a few minutes of interaction with them.
Yeah.
I just can go back then and continue on with my day.
How about you? Do you miss it?
Oh, absolutely. And thinking about how Jeff got into this, I'm thinking about how, I used to have fun in the classroom every day with my students, and that's the best part of being a teacher is how much joy they bring to a subject that you love. So transitioning to administration is a hard decision to walk away from
Right,
that.
right.
I think I did it because there were things that I wanted to change that I didn't have the power to change as a classroom teacher, and getting into administration was an opportunity to influence more students. And we are reaching hundreds and thousands of students every year now. So it's great.
So I want to toot your horns for a second. Not that I'm not for the teachers, but you often hear teachers are working, 8 days a week, 365 hours a day. The public doesn't realize that you also are just as hardworking, if not so more, because you're taking care of the whole school. What is a typical day for you? How long is it, especially during when class is in session? I
I
mean,
get to school around 7:30. If I'm lucky, I go home around 5. I'll eat dinner, I'll sit down on the couch, and I'll pull my laptop out about
Start working
6:30,
again.
and I'll start work again until I either fall asleep or head to bed much later than I intended to.
yeah, I bet. Same with you too, right?
Yeah, you know, the days end varying on how much stuff you had happen that day, and then, like she said, I'm sure you guys do the same thing. I'm always email on the phone, and there's so many things that you want to. It's that choice of, do I just wait till tomorrow to answer all these because I don't want to wake up to all these emails, or
Right.
do I spend my night, replying to these
Right.
questions? So,
Right, right.
Yeah, it's a solid day, and it doesn't traditionally end at 5 or 6.
Right.
That might be when we get to go home, but then it continues.
Right.
And you come into the day thinking you have a plan for that day of what you want to accomplish.
Not with
And
kids.
you'll observe these rooms, and you're going to talk to this person, and then, someone runs in the office and says, this is happening, and then that all just
Yes.
blows up. And so
Yes.
now you're changing it, and
Because I think people forget that you're working with a living entity.
yeah.
So yeah, you have the best laid plans, but it moves.
Yeah, and these kids have lives outside of school too.
Absolutely.
And so you're not only dealing with what happens at school, but social media, and this happened last night, and this happened at practice, and so it's always something.
Yeah. Now, because you guys are first-time principals, I understand the principal community here at FUSD is super tight-knit. Has any seasoned principals said, hey, this is what I would do, I can be your mentor, or if you need help, here's my phone number? Have they reached out to you in such a way?
So the district is so nice that they have assigned me at least a mentor.
Oh, nice.
And so I met with my mentor today actually and had a couple of questions about some committee meetings that were coming up, and so
Okay.
she walked me through how she did her
Nice.
meeting and how she set her agenda, and so I was able to get my questions answered and then have a plan for how I was going to conduct my meeting. So it's super helpful.
That's great. How about you two? Same?
I think everyone's just a text away at this point.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's so
Yeah.
convenient, and everyone's incredibly helpful.
fortunately for Megan and I, our former principals are now at the district office as well. So they're still
That's super easy.
so they're still working with systems that we do at the school. So we just call them and they help us out.
Yeah.
That's great. Now, Fremont is made up of very unique communities. I want you to talk about the ones that you represent and what you think makes them special. We'll start with you.
I've always loved the diversity of my end of town. The north side of Fremont is
The beginning of town.
sure.
Okay.
Is made up of such a breadth of students from so many different communities and have so many different dreams about their future. And what we're trying to do is make sure that what we're offering appeals to all of the students.
Yeah.
So that we are able to make sure every student has the opportunity to pursue their dreams. And so I think that's what makes Americans so rich.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. How about you, Jeff?
Yeah, our parent community is fantastic in the way they advocate for our school and our students. If they see that there's something that our school needs, they're more than willing to offer support. Do we need to do fundraising? Do we
nice.
need to go to the board and speak at the board? They're so involved, and they really have a passion for education. They understand our school, and they really want to help us out, and we appreciate everything that they've done for us.
That's great.
Yeah.
I have the younger siblings of Megan's
Me too.
school. So we probably have very similar families and the same families. And so similar to Mission, they've been very, helpful and they're very interested in their child's education and not just the academic side, but also their emotional and social side. And so
Okay.
our parent community is very involved in arranging assemblies for our students, and
Oh,
they have
nice.
community events for the weekend, and they're a very tight-knit community, and I think that's just wonderful.
That's great. Now, I have heard that, parents of elementary and younger students, parents are all over that school. They'll do anything. But once their child gets to high school, the parent engagement tends to drop off. How do you keep the parents engaged? What's your tip and suggestions and secrets?
I don't know if there's a secret weapon out there. We try and offer what they need and what interests them. So we started a program 2 years ago to have monthly parent workshops.
Nice.
And we survey the parents and ask, what are you looking for? Right now, there's a lot in the news about an epidemic of vaping and the unfortunate consequences from that. So we're having a sergeant from the police department come
Nice.
speak to our parent
Perfect.
community about that. So we really try and match what we're able to offer them with what they are most interested in learning about from our community.
That's
our
great.
counselors, our administrators, they're all willing to give their time and share with their community. So we definitely try and give them what they need.
I love that outlet because parents who are afraid of something and not sure about something, they go to the school. Help me. What do I need to know? I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, and we do some of the things at our school. We had that presentation from the Fremont Police last year on vaping and social
Right.
media. We had our senior night last week for parents to learn about the college application process because their children are going through it.
Okay.
We'll have one for juniors. We have one for each class level for parents to be aware of what they need to look forward to this year.
Wow.
So we try to put on as many opportunities as we can for parents to get involved. We've turned our open house into what's called an expo, and so we have more of a showcase of our school rather than just coming in and learning about the
Right.
class. They get to see what the kids are doing and be involved in that process. And so different outlets to get the parents involved.
That's great. Well, I wish all three of you the best of luck. You don't need it, but best of luck to you and congratulations on your new position. Welcome. Welcome. And
Thank
thanks
you.
for being here in this show. Great.
Thank you.
So much.
From everyone here at Community Conversations, we appreciate you watching and we'll see you next time.